In 2014, there wasn't a footballer carrying more pressure than Neymar. At just 22 years old, he had already become Brazil's biggest star. The world had watched him light up South America with Santos before earning a dream move to Barcelona, where his dazzling skill, fearless dribbling, and eye for goal quickly established him among football's elite. Many believed he would become the player to inherit the game after Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Everything pointed toward greatness. Then one challenge changed everything. 88th minute. Fortaleza, Brazil. A Colombian defender launches into Neymar from behind, his knee crashing into the Brazilian's lower back. Neymar collapses instantly. He doesn't move. Moments later, he turns to a teammate and quietly says 4 words. "I can't feel my legs." That single collision didn't just end his World Cup. It changed the course of one of football's greatest careers forever. To understand why that moment mattered so much, we first have to understand what Neymar meant to Brazil. Neymar da Silva Santos Jr. was born on February 5, 1992. His rise through football was nothing short of extraordinary. At just 17 years old, he broke into the first team at Santos and quickly became one of the brightest young talents in world football. His explosive pace, outrageous dribbling, and fearless creativity drew comparisons to some of Brazil's greatest players. By 19, he was Brazil's biggest football star. By 21, he had completed a blockbuster move to Barcelona. And by 22, he wasn't just one of the best players in the world. He was carrying the hopes of an entire nation. Brazil wasn't simply hosting the 2014 FIFA World Cup. The country was chasing redemption. 64 years earlier, in 1950, Brazil had suffered one of the most painful defeats in football history. Playing at the newly built Maracana Stadium, they needed only a draw against Uruguay to become world champions. Now, Brazil had another chance to write a different ending. And Neymar was the player expected to deliver it. He scored twice in the opening match against Croatia. Added another goal against Cameroon. Time after time, he produced when Brazil needed him most. By the quarter-finals, Brazil faced Colombia in what would become one of the most physical matches of the tournament. Fouls flew in from both sides. Neymar was constantly targeted. Brazil led 2-1 as the clock ticked into the 88th minute. Then everything changed. Juan Camilo Zuniga charged into Neymar from behind, driving his knee into the Brazilian's lower back. Neymar collapsed to the ground. He couldn't continue. As medical staff rushed onto the pitch, the stadium fell into an uneasy silence. The man carrying Brazil's dreams was carried away on a stretcher. Hours later came the devastating diagnosis. A fractured third lumbar vertebra. His World Cup was over. Brazil's World Cup had changed forever. Years later, Neymar revealed just how close he had come to an even greater tragedy. According to him, doctors told him that if the impact had landed only a little lower, he could have been left unable to walk. Suddenly, football didn't matter. The biggest star of the tournament had escaped something far worse than missing a semi-final. But Brazil now had to continue without its leader. 4 days later came the semi-final against Germany. What followed shocked the football world. By halftime, Brazil trailed 5-0. The match ended 7-1. It remains the heaviest defeat in Brazil's World Cup history. Meanwhile, Neymar could only watch from a hotel room, helpless as his teammates suffered one of the darkest nights the sport has ever seen. Nobody can say Brazil would have beaten Germany if Neymar had been fit. But few believe they would have collapsed in such dramatic fashion. The X-ray showed a fractured vertebra. It couldn't reveal the damage that would follow. Before Fortaleza, Neymar's career seemed destined for only one direction: upward. After Fortaleza, injuries became a recurring chapter of his story. Foot fractures. Ankle injuries. Ligament problems. Just when it seemed he was ready to dominate world football again, another setback arrived. For the first time in his career, Neymar wasn't just battling defenders. He was battling his own body. Something else changed too. The fearless player who once danced through challenges became more cautious. He went to ground more often. Whether deserved or not, he developed a reputation for exaggerating contact, a reputation that followed him throughout the rest of his career. Yet despite everything, Neymar still achieved what most footballers could only dream of. He won the UEFA Champions League with Barcelona as part of the legendary MSN trio alongside Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez. He became the world's most expensive footballer with his record-breaking transfer to Paris Saint-Germain. He won league titles, domestic cups, and became Brazil's all-time leading men's goalscorer. Later, he returned to Santos, the club where his remarkable journey had begun. But whenever football fans debate the greatest what-ifs in the history of the game, Neymar's name is never far from the conversation. Because talent was never the question. The question is what football might have witnessed if one challenge in Fortaleza had never happened. We'll never know. The X-ray showed a fractured vertebra. History remembers something much bigger. Because on one night in Fortaleza, football didn't just lose its brightest star for a tournament. It lost the version of Neymar the world never got to see.